Carlos Alcaraz conquered Monte Carlo, but after lifting the trophy, he surprised everyone with a revelation that left many deep in thought. We've had a very tough month. Although he shone on the clay and was crowned the new champion of the Masters 1000, the road to that moment was much more complex than we imagined. Today, we tell you about Alcaraz's unexpected confession, what happened after his fall in Miami, and how he managed to rise again to triumph in one of the most prestigious clay court tournaments on the circuit.
Felicidades, Carlos. ¿Qué se te pasa por la cabeza?
Bueno, la verdad que lo que se me pasa ahora mismo por la cabeza es mi familia, es mi gente, son la gente cercana que tengo, que la verdad que ha sido un mes bastante complicado para mí después de Miami. Bueno, fue un mes difícil de gestionar un poco todo lo que estaba pasando.
Carlos Alcaraz can now proudly say he's a Monte Carlo champion. The young Spaniard, at just 21 years old, claimed one of the most coveted titles on the clay court calendar after defeating Italian Lorenzo Musetti in the final by 4-6, 6-1, and 6-0. Although the match ended early due to the Italian's injury, the level Alcaraz displayed throughout the week was exceptional. He thus became another standout name in the Monte Carlo Country Club's history, where all the great champions have left their mark. But the most impactful moment came after the victory. In front of the media, amid the euphoria and emotion, Alcaraz dropped a sentence few expected: "It's been quite a tough month after Miami." The champion didn't want to go into details but made it clear that he went through a difficult period personally or professionally. And although he didn't mention names or specific situations, his face and words showed just how much this victory meant to him and his team. In Miami, Alcaraz suffered a surprising first-round loss to David Goffin. It was an unexpected blow, not only because of the rival's level but also due to the total disconnection he showed on court. Since then, something changed. A very tough month, hard to manage what was happening to me and focus on what mattered, he confessed after winning in Monte Carlo. And although he still hasn't revealed what happened, it's clear there was a shift in attitude, more focused, more relaxed, and above all, more mature. The victory in Monte Carlo was not just a testament to his tennis level but also his mental strength. Alcaraz thanked his team for their constant support during that difficult month. "We've always stuck together, very united," he said, making it clear that behind his success is a support system that has his back unconditionally. Throughout the week, he was accompanied by coach Samuel Lopez, while his main coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, will rejoin for the Barcelona tournament. His manager, Albert Molina, also traveled to Monaco especially for the final, underlining the importance of the moment. During the tournament, Carlos also addressed another issue that had been weighing on him: the rankings. He admitted he constantly thought about the possibility of reclaiming the number one spot, currently held by Jannik Sinner. "I kept going over the numbers in my head," he explained. But he eventually realized something key: "I understood that it's better to play, enjoy, and forget about the numbers." That renewed mindset was key to his performance in Monte Carlo, where we saw a freer, more aggressive Alcaraz fully in control of his game. With this victory, Alcaraz is back in the conversation for the world number one ranking, but this time with a different perspective. He no longer obsesses over points or results. He wants to enjoy tennis again, rediscover the joy on court, and reconnect with what made him great in the first place. And that's exactly what we saw in Monte Carlo, a champion who's smiling again, fighting for every point as if it were the last, and captivating fans with his talent. Carlos Alcaraz achieved much more than a title in Monte Carlo. He closed a difficult chapter of his season with a victory that symbolizes resilience, maturity, and evolution. His confession after the win made it clear that not everything has been easy in recent weeks, but also that he's learning to manage pressure and reconnect with his essence as a player. With this renewed mindset and the support of his team, Alcaraz heads into the European clay swing stronger than ever. And if he was already a favorite, now he's even more so, because he's shown he can overcome tough moments and come back stronger. Carlos Alcaraz didn't just lift the trophy in Monte Carlo. He also walked away with a real fortune. The young Spaniard, the new champion of the Masters 1000 in the Principality, won the highest prize money in the tournament's history. At just 21 years old, he's already approaching millionaire figures that place him closer and closer to tennis's historical records. Today we tell you how much money Alcaraz earned in Monte Carlo, where it ranks among the tournament's biggest prizes, and how he's climbing the list of the highest paid players on the circuit. Carlos Alcaraz made history in Monte Carlo by becoming the sixth Spaniard to win this prestigious tournament in the professional era. He joins illustrious names like Manolo Orantes, Carlos Moya, Juan Carlos Ferrero, Sergi Bruguera, and of course, Rafael Nadal, who leads the list with 11 titles. But in addition to the trophy and 1,000 ATP ranking points, Alcaraz also took home something just as juicy, the biggest cash prize ever awarded in this tournament. For his win over Italian Lorenzo Musetti, Alcaraz pocketed exactly €946,610, surpassing by 3% the check received by Greek Stefanos Tsitsipas in the previous edition. That increase is part of the tournament's upward trend, which this year distributed a total of €6,128,940 among all participants, including singles and doubles draws. With this prize, Alcaraz reaffirms his place not only as a sports star but also as one of the most profitable athletes today. This Monte Carlo check is the second largest prize ever awarded in the tournament, just behind the €958,055 Fabio Fognini received in 2019 when he won the title. That same year, Rafael Nadal, although he didn't win, took home €935,385. But then came the pandemic, and prize money was drastically reduced. Now, with the economic recovery of the circuit, the amounts are climbing again, and Alcaraz has become the first post-COVID player to reach such a high figure. With this latest conquest, Carlos Alcaraz has already surpassed $40 million in total career earnings on the ATP Tour. An impressive figure considering he's only 21 years old. And that's not even counting his lucrative endorsement deals with brands like Nike, Rolex, or BMW, which multiply his off-court income. If he maintains this trajectory, he could break not just sporting records, but also financial ones. Curiously, despite his record prize in Monte Carlo, Alcaraz has yet to surpass the €1 million mark in a single win at this tournament, something the organization has yet to implement. But with his rising popularity and the tour's economic boost, it wouldn't be surprising if in future editions the first prize breaks that threshold. And if someone can be the first to achieve it, it's him. Alcaraz's financial haul in Monaco symbolizes more than just income. It confirms that tennis has found its new global star. He doesn't just win titles, he draws audiences, sells tickets, and attracts sponsors. And that makes him a key figure both on and off the court. In a post-Federer era and with Nadal nearing retirement, Alcaraz is tennis's biggest investment. Carlos Alcaraz didn't just take home sporting glory in Monte Carlo, he also won a historic cash prize that brings him closer to the biggest names in tennis in every sense. With €946,610 in the bank, he now totals over $40 million in his career and continues climbing without pause. Monte Carlo was just another step on his path to breaking records. With his talent, charisma, and ability to generate global impact, everything suggests the best is yet to come. And that the million per tournament mark is just around the corner. Carlos Alcaraz is smiling again. And he's doing it on his favorite surface, clay. After a start to the year filled with more doubts than certainties, the young Spaniard claimed Monte Carlo for the first time and celebrated with a sincere confession: "I'm enjoying myself like I haven't in a long time." Today we tell you how the clay has brought back the best version of Alcaraz, why the victory in Monte Carlo means more than just a trophy, and what he said after a personally and professionally tough month. Carlos Alcaraz shone again where he feels best, on clay. The Spaniard was crowned champion at the Monte Carlo Masters 1000, one of the most iconic tournaments on the circuit, with a solid performance, overcoming Italy's Lorenzo Musetti in a final marked by tension, intensity, and emotion. Although the ending was unexpected due to Musetti's physical issues, Alcaraz's path to the title was convincing. He was a champion who knew how to react, adapt, and dominate. This triumph not only represents his first title in Monte Carlo but also a rebirth after a somewhat irregular start to the season. On hard courts, Alcaraz had more frustrations than celebrations. He fell in Doha, Indian Wells, and Miami, where he was stunned by David Goffin in the first round. Only in Rotterdam did he manage to lift a title. Despite his talent, something wasn't clicking. His usual joy on court had faded. But with the arrival of clay, everything changed. In Monte Carlo, we saw the Alcaraz the tennis world admires again: fast, bold, creative, and resilient. He weathered Musetti's initial push in the final, responded with increased shot speed, and turned mistakes into winners. He didn't need to play perfectly, just smartly. And above all, he enjoyed himself again. "I've enjoyed this week like I hadn't in a long time," he said after lifting the trophy. Beyond the sport, Alcaraz surprised with a meaningful statement. "It's been a tough month for me after Miami. A difficult month, dealing with everything that was happening and focusing on what mattered," he confessed. He didn't give details but hinted that life off the court had also been challenging. However, far from crumbling, he used that adversity as fuel. He returned to training with intensity and rediscovered his tennis just in time for one of the year's most important tournaments. The victory also propels him to the second spot in the ATP rankings, bringing him closer to the world number 1, currently held by Jannik Sinner. But this time, Alcaraz has learned something crucial: not to obsess over points. Days before the final, he had admitted to thinking constantly about the top spot, but decided to let go of that pressure and simply enjoy. That was the key. In doing so, his tennis began to flow naturally again. Alcaraz also took time to thank his close circle, reminding everyone that none of this would be possible without his team and family. "My family and everyone close to me comes to mind," he said while receiving the trophy. His main coach Juan Carlos Ferrero wasn't in Monte Carlo, but Samuel Lopez and his manager Albert Molina were, supporting him throughout this redemptive week. Monte Carlo wasn't just another title for Carlos Alcaraz. It was the turning point he had been waiting for. The moment he left behind the frustrations of hard court and reconnected with the essence of his tennis. And that, beyond the result, is what truly makes him a serious candidate to dominate the clay swing. And dream big at Roland Garros. Carlos Alcaraz is back to being Carlos Alcaraz. His victory in Monte Carlo not only places him as the new world number 2 but confirms that he has regained the confidence, joy, and tennis that took him to the top. After a tough month, clay has become his ally again, bringing back sensations he thought were lost. With a calmer mindset, a refined game, and the backing of his team, Alcaraz heads into the rest of the European clay season stronger than ever. And if he maintains this level, he will be very hard to stop. Do you think clay will mark Alcaraz's definitive return to the top? Is he ready to conquer Roland Garros this year? Leave us your comment and don't forget to subscribe to follow every step of the Spaniard in this thrilling season. See you in the next video with more top-tier tennis.